My name is PENN JILLETTE of Penn & Teller, and I'm on the Celebrity Apprentice, NBC, February 12th, 9 p.m., and sitting next to me is...
Adam Corolla, and I'm from the Adam Corolla podcast, and you can find me on Celebrity Apprentice, February 12th, NBC, 9 p.m.
Who wins?
Wow.
Well,
we've narrowed it down.
No real surprise. That's all I'll leave it at.
I would say some surprise.
Okay.
I'd say half a surprise.
Half a surprise, okay.
Okay.
So, why did you accept this? What was your charity?
My charity was Opportunity Village, which is a charity in Vegas for people with intellectual disabilities. It tries to put people who are usually under 80 IQ into the world. I mean, not to be warehoused, but to actually get a chance to live and work. The jobs that you wouldn't consider are the jobs these people desperately want. They want to clean the restrooms at the airport. They want to be part of our society, and this helps them. And I always like to point out it's also a charity that Elvis Presley was very involved with. When Elvis would take the scarves out from around his neck, wipe his sweat, and throw them into the audience, those scarves were made by Opportunity Village. Elvis would go and get them there. They would sew the corners and so on. And everybody at Opportunity Village, when they made one of those scarves, would kiss the scarf. And then when Elvis handed it out, he would kiss it. And so those scarves that were thrown out were made by people with severe intellectual disabilities and thrown out by the king of rock and roll. And if that ain't America, so I win Celebrity Apprentice just because I have the coolest charity and Elvis Presley's on my side. That's all.
Opportunity Village is also a nickname that Aubrey has for her private part. It's not on her driver's license, but it's known.
No, it's well known, very well known. Yeah. And there is a small tap that says OV that looks like a mole from a distance, but no one's at a distance.
And Adam, what was yours?
Mine was Catholic Big Brothers, and it's funny because I'm sitting next to an atheist, and I am an atheist, so it's uncomfortable. I got involved with the organization many years ago. I'm one of the few celebrities who did all my philanthropic work before I was a celebrity and then said screw everyone after that. So I was a Catholic Big Brother for a number of years back in the early 90s, and I was, honestly, I've lived a fairly blessed life where I don't have no, but in the sense that don't use the Lord's name in vain. He doesn't exist, remember? I've never had breast cancer or ovarian cancer or any form of cancer, so I started thinking, what would my charity be? And for me, it was the charity that I was involved with years ago, which is Catholic Big Brothers. And unfortunately, I know this is going to sound bad, but part of charity is the part where you help the charity, and then the other part is how you look helping the charity. My Catholic little brother was blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and lived in Beverly Hills. All I wanted was a little street cred. I just wanted a Puerto Rican kid with a bad leg, or something. And I got a white kid from Beverly Hills. Now, he technically lived in Beverly Hills because he lived in an apartment. His mom moved the entire family with the dad gone and everything into a small apartment so they could be in the Beverly Hills school district, and they were still dirt poor and all that kind of stuff. But having the blue-eyed kid from Beverly Hills as your Catholic little brother does not get you a lot of street cred, especially when you're trying to get laid off it.
I'm curious about the whole being an atheist and a Catholic Big Brother. How does that? Do they
explain that.
There's a couple of kinds of atheists. There's the militant atheist.
Not militant, passionate. Militant involves atheist. Some violence. There's none with me.
And then there's the atheist who's really an atheist because he's so lazy he won't get up and go to church or open a Bible or get down on his knees and pray.
I read the Bible every day.
Part of the reason I'm an atheist is mostly just lethargy. So I don't have a super strong opinion surrounding being an atheist. I recognize that there are many great people that are very religious people, and if you're doing good work for kids, you're doing good work for kids, and I don't care who you pray to or to nobody.
Well, I think that there's very few atheists that wouldn't agree with that.
Yes.
If I'm looking for conflict, if I'm looking for Busey Meatloaf conflict, who is it between this time?
Other than me and Clay Aiken, I would say that seemed to be, and I hate to break this down by gender, but it's the way the show is set up. It's not me breaking it down. It seemed like the women's team had more pyrotechnics than the men's team. It also seemed, from what I heard, from what the producers said, and of course we're not privy to what's really going on. We just see, we have that ground view from Google. We don't have the air view. But from what they said, this year had a little bit more civility, which I hope is not telling people not to tune in, because I do believe there was a lot of interesting things. But I think there are other kinds of conflict, other kinds of interest, and other kinds of passion that don't involve just screaming obscenities 1 foot apart, face to face.
We skewed a little more sexual this year. And by the way, the Busey Meatloaf conflict sounds like something a waiter would say when he was reading you the special. We have the Chilean sea bass. We also have a Busey Meatloaf conflict. Oh, that sounds delightful. What's that come with?
Drama.
Okay, since you guys
We have a big pile of Aubrey O'Day.
Yes.
What do you make a good president?
Oh, with Trump?
Trump?
I cannot tell you that I know all of his politics, but I'm sure socially we vary quite a bit. But when it comes to just sort of roll your sleeves up, get to work, stop complaining, get your nose to the grindstone, I like that part of Trump. I like that he's instilled that into his kids. I like the fact that he has 8 jobs and seems to be good at least 7.5 of them, and his kids all bust their hump. And you can start talking about Medicare and Medicaid and social programs, but to me, if everyone just had Trump's attitude of, I'm not going to feel sorry for myself, I'm going to roll my sleeves up, I'm going to bust my ass and get to work, we'd be living in a pretty decent country. So that part of Trump, and that part of Trump as a president, I would endorse.
Legally, I have to recuse myself because I may be running against him.
Your official announcement here.
I'm not going to do it right now, but I have gone back to Texas and I'm talking with my people.
Can we assume that because you've been paired up in your TCA and you're not fighting that
We're lovers.
That's exactly where I was going.
We are.
Right.
And that's okay. And that'll come out during the course of the show, so please don't tip that.
Yes.
Literally come out.
Yes.
How did you guys do this with your schedules? I was always wondering how they did that. Was it you take for 3 days and you go back home? And
I took the most time off from performing that I've taken off in my adult life. Since I was 17, from carnivals, from street performing, from Broadway, off-Broadway, Vegas, I have never gone more than 2 weeks without doing a show. And for the taping of The Celebrity Apprentice, I went the longest I have gone in my adult life without being on stage. And it was, a lot of people had to do that because, of course, Teller.
The audience was
did that as
elated,
well.
by the way, that
Thrilled.
he'd taken a little break from being on stage.
But so I took the, it's shot in a compressed amount of time. The amount of time you see it on, when you're seeing it every week, it compresses to about 6 weeks. And that was an amount of time that I took off from Vegas, and the Penn and Teller Theater in Vegas was dark during that time. It was a big commitment, but I just wanted to learn. I mean, first of all, I'm trying to sell my show. I mean, I don't want to be disingenuous about that. That having been said, that I have to go on TV to sell the magic show. I wanted to learn. Reality shows are what these decades we're living in are kind of about in terms of entertainment, and I wanted to see it from the inside.
I packed up my podcast in a suitcase, literally microphones and equipment, and had one of my tech guys come out to me and was doing my interviews, my podcast from my room. And I'd say, hey, Lou, Lou was down the hall, come by at 7 o'clock on Sunday night and sit down, and he'd sit down and we'd do, hey, it's one-on-one with Lou Ferrigno, and I wouldn't say where I was from or where we were doing it from, and that's how I just sort of continued to work on Sundays. But it was tough, especially for the non-New Yorkers to just pack up and leave.
The
My
very
family-
fact that you took an audience from broadcast radio into podcast is absolutely amazing, and the loyalty of those fans that went with you on that thing is it's a remarkable feat. No one else
Thanks.
has monetized that.
Thank you.
No one else has done.
Well, thank you. Thank you is all I can say.
I'm curious about, because you are such a, well, you're gigantic. You're a big man, you're tall, and I imagine that when you have children and you take them to school, that you're like the guy, the dad that kind of everybody knows. And how is that for your children?
I don't know. You're asking a question that I can't really make
Deeply disturbing. Continue.
that I can't really make
I can
light
answer.
that I can't really make light of. Because
Make fun of my kids
I
all
was
the time.
raised, I was raised lower middle class, and now I'm raising Paris Hilton.
In
I'm
the
on.
name of our next reality show.
I'm 300 feet tall on the side of a building in Las Vegas. And in order to drive to the fancy ass uniform school my children go to, we drive by 5 Penn & Teller billboards. And
They're not on the way.
no, I just drive around it. Yeah.
He's beating his kids over the head with his own celebrity.
And
They have to double back to
I
get to school.
overheard-
They're late every day.
I
Kids
overheard my
crying,
daughter
hungry.
say that, my dad is Penn & Teller, which is not the way you mention your dad. And I mean, I never said that. I don't know what it's like. I just don't know what it's like. And
I can tell you from my there's a lot of pride I have when I see.
Is your name Penn?
Well, I'm sorry,
Okay.
but I'm when I see my daughter look at somebody and say, "My dad is Jimmy Kimmel." I take a lot of pride. Well, he's doing better than I am, and she's smart about it. I'm sorry.
It's it is a really weird question, and you don't have anyone to talk to about that. You don't have anyone that you can talk to, and there even if you did, it's too small a sample. I mean, the school that my children go to, David Copperfield's children go to, and so there's
Hold on,
that.
he's straight.
What's that? And David and I have talked about this.
Oh, he adopted.
And we
Okay.
just don't know. We just don't know. I don't know what it means. And I wish my mom and dad were alive, because I believe they would give me some sort of signpost on this. But you've asked a question that I actually worry about and I have no answer for whatsoever. I'd like to think that that relationship of father to children is so built into us in terms of evolution that a lot of paint on the building doesn't make a difference. But maybe it does, and I hope not.
Thanks very much.
I'm afraid we're out of time.
Okay.
All right, hold on a second.
Schoolyard bullying is
The
my
one
way to
good-looking-
investigate your dad.
Yeah.
We got the hot chick in the corner over here. Not a question out of you. Everyone else is throwing round robin.
The rest of us
The
feel
dad from the
really good
Wonder,
about the fact that you prefaced that with the wonderful
the dad from the Wonder Years.
Thank you.
This guy. Sorry, not the one. The second. But I all right, where were we?
I think
You
you were
look like
insulting.
you're from a TV
I think you were
show, too.
insulting everyone at the fucking table. Is what you
sorry.
were doing. That's what you were
do?
doing. You want to go one by one,
I
or do
want
it
to
as a
know what
group?
happened to your pinky.
She crossed her legs. There we go. Thank you so
Crossed her
much.
legs. What the?
Are your kids atheists too?
Yes, well, of course. I mean, everyone's born
A
atheist.
Jehovah's Witness. What the fuck kind of question was that?
I believe everyone's born atheist. Everybody in the whole world is born atheist. You have to have it indoctrinated. What's that?
What carnival did you work on?
I worked kind of all over. I just kind of picked up stuff here and there in the carny. I was mostly homeless and doing street stuff, but I did stuff out of Minneapolis and worked a little bit with Warren Hall. Are you?
My husband's family, they own Kraft's 20 Big Shows. My father-in-law owned Kraft's 20 Big Shows, and he's been a concessionaire his whole life, and he only did.
By the way,
So
don't,
is it?
Yes.
don't buy this Jim Morrison crap. His
He is
dad's a
old.
very rich industrialist. He's
He is
very
old.
well off. Both his parents still alive. This
He is
all-
old. He's nice.
just a
He
load
is
of
awesome
crap.
too. He's sort of.
Oh my
Thanks,
gosh,
Anna.
that's so cool. Tell my husband you said that.
Piazik? Kiazarni. Piazik.
Thank you.
Speaking carny.
Are we done, Washington? Oh, no.